next topic so nobody falls asleep. Responsive layouts. I think this one is the most important for you to understand to make your website this week. Because a lot of websites I think we've heard of rely on location, or they want some mobile interface to find free food or something. That was really good. So it's really important. And the way you do it, you use media queries. So media queries, sorry, I cannot count. So media queries are the things that allow you to run certain CSS rules only if your device supports certain properties. So you can say, only run the CSS rules if my size is small, or only run the CSS rule if my device supports microphones. It's kind of weird. You can say, if there's a portrait mode, run one code, but if it's horizontal, run different code. Or, for example, let's say you're on a tablet, but there's some UI elements that requires you to hover it. Like, you know, some menus that requires you to hover your mouse to open it. That will never work on tablets, right? Because you cannot hover with your finger, or it's really difficult. So you can check if you can hover, if you have a mouse, and if you cannot, you can just give a better UI element. You can also check if your device supports colors. So if you're like on e-ink device, it will not run. Anyway, it's a lot of words, but here's an example. I have one box, and the color is different depending on the size of the screen. So usually it's blue. If it's small, it's green. And if it's really small, it's red. So let's open it and show it. All right. So here's my example. It's blue. And now I'm resizing it more. It's green. It's red. Green, blue, green, red. All right. So that's the point, right? So you can check. You can see there are breakpoints. That's how CSS names it. You have breakpoints when it changes from blue to green, somewhere here, around 1,000 pixels. So that's how you do it. I'll give you a little bit more as an example. Here's an example for responsive layout. So imagine you have a flexbox and you have like a lot of columns. And because your screen is so big, you can fit as many columns as you want. You can fit 5 columns. Let's say you're building Pinterest. But on mobile, you don't have any screen space. So you want to stack them as boxes. So you can do this. You can stack them with just CSS. And again, I'm going to show this example. Here I have my columns, and I resize it, and get stacked. Columns, stacked. Column, stacked. So this is what you can do. Oh yeah, I have another 2 live examples of real websites where it's implemented. One is built by me, one is built by somebody else to make a point that I'm not the only one doing it. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. Anyway, this is guy who lives in Silicon Valley. I don't know who he is, but he has a nice website. And you can see a nice filtered picture of him. And if I resize the screen, the picture gets smaller, right? And this is done so on mobile, you see more than just his face. So you see more stuff. And if you have a big screen, you have a lot of space, he's like, oh hey, look at my face. Really nice of him. So thank you for responsive design. And now I'll show you an example that I built. I built it like 2 years ago. And yeah, so here I have a common navigation on top. I have like 7 links. Is it 7? I cannot count more than 6, I told you. So if I resize it, the menu on the top, just keep watching. It goes into this menu. And if I make it bigger, it's like back there, right? And there are like a lot of other things that change. For example, like this picture and this text, they change position relative to each other and size. So that's like an example, a simple example I did. I think there are only 2 things I changed depending on the size. But the navigation is the important one. So the way it's done here, I actually have 2 different navigation systems. And one is hidden, and one is shown. And depending on the size, I show one or hide another. So like actually there are different things. So I think that's a good example how you could use your responsive layer. And I want to show you how to debug it. So you don't need to resize your browser window as I showed you to test it for mobile, for example. You can do it in simulation mode in Chrome. And this is how you do it. You open your DevTools and you click this button and you can actually change anything you want. Let me show you the live example. So here's my website. I do inspect element. Make it super huge, obviously. So here's the button. This button looks like a tablet. Click this. And now it looks like it's tablet mode. And it actually has like a simulation of tap events. You can even simulate swipes and stuff like this. And on the top, I can choose a preset. I can change it to iPhone X because we all have our dreams. One of my dreams is to own iPhone X. So I don't have it, so I'll fulfill my dreams by just using the simulator. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. It's like, gosh, nobody usually does. So recap. Box model. You have boxes. Suddenly, each box is actually 4 boxes. And yeah, questions about box model? No questions. Okay. Oh yeah, and it's difficult to do math if you don't use this property called border box. It's box size. This website is really good for learning layout. Please use it. This is how you make an animation. Here's a live example you can look at later. You can use media queries to change the color of background depending on the size of your page. Oh, that's it. That's the last slide. Yay. Any questions? Yeah.
Do you use Bootstrap first? You look at Bootstrap first and then start doing all this stuff where you add functionality?
Good question. I personally don't use Bootstrap because I don't know how to use Bootstrap. Like honestly, I never learned it. I just build Flexbox myself now. But it's a really nice way to build websites using Bootstrap. And the reason is because I think starting Bootstrap 3, this focus on mobile-oriented design a lot. So when you use it, it already is responsive. So when you use Bootstrap layouts, at least the grid is actually collapsing automatically when you change it to mobile. And you don't need to do any of the complicated stuff. Most of it is already done for you. So the problem here is that you don't have as much control what exactly happens because they already build the rules for you. But the good thing is that it already works and it already uses this familiar behavior that already exists in a lot of other websites. So yeah, I think if I would start from scratch, using Bootstrap is a really good idea just because it does so much for you. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, great. I don't know if the lunch is ready, so yeah, we can just play channels.io.
I think lunch is ready.
Is it?